And please listen to me when I say that. You really have to use your discernment to hear the essence of what I'm saying. It has never been about anyone else. It has always been about you.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your November 2019 general reading. I'm Princess India for the 99 and 2000. If you're new, if you're family, welcome back, my friend. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot, or whatever. So anywho, if you're not familiar with how we do these readings, we pick 3 cards in the beginning. So we're going to do a pick a card. So pick number 1, 2, or 3. Not all 3, not 2, just 1, 2, or 3. You know what I'm saying? And we use these for in the event after you watch the general, you feel for some reason that you need something a little bit more specific. We translate these 3 cards into 3 groups, 3 overall energies over on Vimeo in our extended, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead and pick a card now if you like. And I'm going to tell you guys about what I got for you intuitively, which was very hard to do the intro while I was holding all that inside. Taurus, I'm not going to say like, you know, I already knew Scorpio season was going to be something. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, congratulations on the highest views from October. But, you know, that being our opposite sign, you know, we got a little bit of that in us too. You know what I'm saying? But, man, it's perplexing. Let me just start with what it is I saw. So the thing that I saw was, if you're familiar with like Cirque du Soleil and like, you know, people who are like contortionists and things of the sort. So I saw a person, I don't think they were supposed to be a contortionist, but I saw a person and it was like people around them, right? And it's like this person is on the ground. They were already contorted all types of ways. But I was completely confused at what it was I was looking at until I looked at the person on the ground who I couldn't even describe. It's like they were torso down. There was a leg over their shoulder, but then twisted this way. And then their arms were like coming up. And then I noticed the person like stuck their head under their leg and their arm. And they kind of peeked up at the people. And the people said something. And the person contorted again. It looks so much worse than how I'm describing it. But I mean, that's for good reason. But I didn't understand what was happening, but it was the person saying something in the group and the person contorting again to where I started to understand what it was I was looking at. So in so many words, and this isn't something just coming into November, it's like the Taurians that I'm talking to are people who consistently make modifications to their personhood, to their life, to their belief system, to their opinions and things of the sort, to suffice isn't the purpose, the proper word there, but for the benefit of other people in so many words. So it's more or less like, I don't want to be a burden, I don't want to be a bother, or I don't want to cause conflict. So it's more or less continuously over a span of time, modifying oneself for the benefit of this crowd. And this crowd can represent literally anything. I mean, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be, you know, romantic partners, what have you. But the whole point is continuously modifying yourself for other people. So it's like to fit. But the whole thing is you're contorted. So you're no longer resembling yourself because you have continuously modified yourself for, you know, the benefit of others, acceptance of others, to keep down conflict, whatever the intention is behind it. The whole purpose is modification. Now, where this becomes an issue for Taurus right now is because so much time, energy, and effort has been externalized, right? Because like I said, the person is like looking up to the crowd to know what their next move is. It's so much energy that has been externalized. to the outside world or other people, this group of people, person, what have you, job, whatever, belief system, it doesn't matter. But so much energy has been externalized to where one is no longer resembling themselves. And I feel like one has stayed in this contorted state for so long to where, I don't know, it's difficult to find out what's up and what's down because one has been contorted for so long. So it's hard to differentiate between what parts of you wants to be contorted in that way or not in so many ways. And then I heard, I probably should have wrote that down because my memory is not the bee's knees. Oh, what is it? Expectation. I totally should have wrote that down. Judgment. Oh, wait. Judgment fosters expectation or something along those lines. Spirit, if I'm butchering that, help your girl out. Judgment fosters expectation. I may be saying it wrong, but the energy signature behind that in so many words is like going back to our little contortionist here. It's like either whether it's Taurus passing judgment on other people, because we could say this in two ways, whether Taurus would represent the crowd and, you know, having expectations that a person has to constantly contort themselves to fit into. Okay, and Spirit is saying for some people, I needed to say it as if they were the ones being contorted first for them to feel compassion for themselves or that person that represents, for them to now understand it this way. So this is definitely two ways. It's having high expectations, and people who come into your space are forced to have to contort themselves in order to fit into your space, your life, whatever, right? And that would be a lack thereof of acceptance of a person as they are. And then on the other end, it's more or less allowing oneself to be judged by other people. But the whole premise of this, of how judgment fosters expectations, is that an expectation is a static state. It's a glass ceiling. It's a limit. It's a proverbial box in so many words. So once a judgment is made either about oneself or a person, or if a person judges you and you internalize that, that limits the possibilities of what you can be. And over time, it limits the possibilities of what can be possible for you, because it's almost like being frozen in that state. So it feels to me energetically like I'm coming in on this because Taurus has been postured in this way for some time. And it feels like there's a conflict that's going on because there's a desire for Taurus to get out of this, you know, this not necessarily bondage, but I mean, out of this contorted state. It's wanting to get out of that because it feels as if it's like a hardened kind of state. So it's wanting to get out of that, but not really knowing where to begin with that in so many words. But the key is to relinquish the judgment aspect of it, and meaning that word in the vastness of its context, because judgment is like a final say. It's a decree and a declare of this is what it is. And there's a need for that to be relinquished so that one's expectations can rise or, you know, lower, or whatever the key is to find that sweet spot, or more fluidity, in other words, once that judgment is removed. So whether that's being the judger or being the judged, it's more or less that's what it is that's being reconciled this month, because like I said, it's been going on for too long. Let me hurry up and tell you guys your cards. If you pick number 1, we have completion. If you pick number 2, we have confusion. If you pick number 3, we have workaholic. Oh my God, if this is not dead on and on point. That confusion, that sits out to me heavily. This is interesting because that falls into the theme of what I'm feeling. It's like there's a need to, there's acceptance, there's letting go. This confusion is heavily stated in that vision I saw. The whole workaholic thing is more or less like avoidance being one's coping mechanism. Like not wanting to face things, in so many words, like pretending this isn't happening. And maybe, you know, getting into work or what have you to kind of divert from that. But it feels kind of heavy, man, because I feel like what it is to me, because that's a lot going on, Taurus. That's a lot to dissect. But I mean, I guess the simplest way that I could put it is there's an unction or an inspiration to break out. Right? And I think that's what the most important thing is to take away going into our cards, is that none of this would be coming up if there wasn't like a spark within my Taurians this month to break out of this posture that you guys have been in up until this point. But like I said, it's like that judgment aspect is a huge part of it, in the sense of it all starts with you, which is similar to what it is I was feeling with Scorpio as well. Like with them in their reading, I was saying how it starts and ends with them. And it's like with you guys, it's more or less taking back the reins and not looking to something or someone outside of yourself for, you know, how it is that you should be positioning yourself, in so many words. It's so much I want to say with that, y'all, but I don't want to take up your whole reading with just what it is I'm getting intuitively. But anywho, the central energy for Taurus for November, well, I'm confused. 9 of Swords. You know what I'm saying? Okay. This is challenged by the 10 of Cups. Now that makes perfect sense to me. And look at that, slaying demons and things. Past influence, we have the Star card. Oh, all right. Supernatural energy and whatnot or whatever. Underlying influence, we have the 7 of Swords. I love this card. It's only because of what it is that Spirit told me about it months ago that made me love it, because this used to be one of the cards where I was like, eh. But now I totally, absolutely love it. Our above energy, well, we got the 10 of Swords. So far, 10 of Swords, you know, that would be my group 1 people. And the 9 of Swords would be my group 2 people. Isn't that fascinating? All right, and then going forward, if I could pick the card up with these nails. All right, okay, that's what I'm talking about. We have the 8 of Wands. So here's the thing, Taurus, coming into November with the Star card, this is super good because this is more or less this process being heavily divinely influenced, in so many words. So whatever this whole struggle contortionist thing is, it's like you guys' desire to break out of it is divinely inspired because it's time. And then what it is that you guys elect to do moving forward is also supported by the divine, right? But a theme I'm seeing with you guys that I saw with Scorpio, and I've been really making a point to jot down these themes early on to share them with you guys, is it's already a consistent theme, a consistent theme that I see of letting go, but it's a different form of letting go because it's a letting go that is very much aligned with personal accountability, in so many words. So the thing is with this is there's a divine inspiration within the belly of your being of desiring different, wanting things in your life to look different. But there's a need to recognize how it is we got there in the first place, right? Because we can say that, everything in my life sucks and I want things to be different, or I feel trapped, in bondage. But it's always important to look at how it is you got there, because it's one of those things, like, what is that quote that talks about, like, if you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it, or something along those lines. That's very much what it is that I'm feeling. For you guys, I'm seeing there is a cycle that's ending here, and there is a lesson, a clarity, and a truth that is intended for you guys to take out of this. But I'm feeling it more in the sense of like a truth of thought, but a truth of thought being in the sense of like a perception, and a perception of yourself, in so many words. Because I'm going back to the star card here, and I'm really seeing this as like freedom. I'm seeing it as liberation. I'm seeing it as, confidence, unashamed, and knowing one's worth, knowing one's value, and you more or less being and it's similar to how I said, like, if you fall in that category of like judging other people, it's similar to that. It's more or less, as opposed to having to exert your power in an aggressive or dominating fashion, is more or less learning what it means to stand in true, authentic power, to where you just being in your power, being in your truth, being in your authenticity, right? How that in turn changes the dynamics around you, in so many words. So it's kind of like a lesson on two sides, whether it's that, Taurus having too high expectations, or Tauruses that are befalling to other people's expectations. It's more or less going forward. Well, specifically what I just heard is you can no longer survive like that. I don't really know what that means, but okay. But it's like you can't survive that way. So all of this, and this is, I love how this ends up happening, but with this Nine of Swords, this is very much taking me back to the energy. So if you guys have Scorpio on your chart anywhere, but this is taking me back to the energy that I felt with Scorpio, because in their intuitive message, I saw a specific message for them, but I ended up seeing a vision I had a long time ago that I wrote about in my book, and it was talking about battling your demons. So it's more or less whatever fear, because I feel like fear is the sponsoring energy of why it is that you guys are desperately trying to conform to these expectations outside of yourself. And what I mean by the choices that we made that got us here, this is to me what the proverbial demon you guys would be slaying would be. It's like whatever fear-based thought or belief led you to believe that you had to alter or change or modify who you are or how you are or what it is that you want for this, entity, group, person, whatever outside of yourself. Where that comes from initially is what it is that needs to be confronted, because you can no longer survive like this going forward. And this is kind of reminding me to the energy I picked up for you guys in September. And I think we were talking more about like thought patterns. So it's not really so much about the pathology of how one is thinking. This is more deeper to me, in a sense of core beliefs. And of course, when we talk about thoughts, our thoughts are based on our beliefs. Like our beliefs are what sponsor what it is that we're thinking in the first place. So if you guys have been doing work in your thought space as far back as September, then this is more or less the completion of this cycle. So it's more or less, and this is specifically for those who've been doing the work up until this point, is more or less you guys are going to get the root of the problem, get clarity on the source of it or its origins, where it came from. And it's more or less, oh, wow. I'm loving how the clairvoyance is working this month. because I'm seeing it like surgery. So it's almost okay. So it's like, thank you, Scorpio season. It's like a tumor being removed from your body, Taurus. Let's just go with it. God damn it, son of a gun. Moving right along. So all of this is influenced by the Seven of Swords. Why the Seven of Swords is my favorite card is because what Spirit told me about it a few months ago, which was what you skip will trip you up later, right? So this is what's influencing this. Now, what it is that I'm seeing, because this is a whole storyline to me, just simply right here. With what you skipped is these two little swords that are back here, right? So it's more or less, I left confusion behind without clarifying the confusion. So I walked away from confusion into inner conflict, right? So how I'm seeing this is, it's almost like, and I just said this the other day, which is funny. And I was joking with one of my friends and I said, you could take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the boy, right? I'm seeing this like that. It's like you guys left a situation, an external thing, right? So you left a person or a job or a situation, circumstance, whatever it is. You guys physically left something behind, right? That you felt was causing chaos, calamity, and confusion. Wow. So this is how this ties into the intuitive message. This is an interesting month, it is. So if we talk about judgments, it's not necessarily saying like judging a certain person is like, oh, they're this, oh, they're that. It's more or less Taurus pinpointing that a person, situation, circumstance, job, whatever, was the source of the issue, right? So it's like, I'm stressed out because of this job, or I'm not happy because of this relationship, or I'm not fulfilled because of this person that I'm friends with, right? So Taurus made the decision to move away from that thing. So physically moved, right? But the thing that's missing here, which is the root cause of everything that we're dealing with this month, the underlying influence being the Seven of Swords, the thing that you skipped was clarifying that, right? So there was a judgment that was made, right? And judgments foster expectations, right? So, wow, this is so dope how this is coming full circle. So the judgment was that was the problem. So now that the problem's gone, my expectation is my life is copacetic, right? But the thing that would be seen now, or you're realizing now, would be the fact that even though you left that situation, proverbially speaking, the situation never left you. And by the situation never leaving you, I mean confusion, anxiety, unrest, what have you. So whatever the judgment was made about saying that was the source of the problem, it's more or less like a projection in a sense. It's saying this external object is the issue, but the truth is that the conflict existed in me. So we're talking about mirror effect here. So everything that we see in our external reality, and I'm going to clarify for you guys like what this means. When we're talking about the mirror effect and day-to-day experience of how everything outside of you is reflecting your internal state, it's not the fact of like in a very literal sense, like, you know, like this person robs me, so somehow inside I'm robbing myself. Like it doesn't mean that. What it's more or less about is our perspectives and the judgments that we make about experiences. Because from my school of thought, everything in life that's happening is simply just happening. Like it's just causality. It's cause and effect. Like everything that's happening is just happening. It's us who have the consciousness and the awareness and the cognition to be able to make judgments about what's simply happening. And we have the power to say whether it's good or it's bad, if it's, you know, holy, if it's evil. like if this was in my highest good or if it wasn't, if this is serving me or it's not. It's like we're the ones who make the judgments about what is simply happening, right? And the whole point of what I'm saying is here is making a judgment about something, or even if we pull from a scripture, literally. There's a scripture that says, and I'm going to butcher this too probably, judge not lest ye be judged, right? And my understanding of that is the reason why you shouldn't judge lest you be judged is not really saying like, oh, you know, I say you're ugly. You're a horrible person. I judged you today. That means someday in the future, someone else is going to say, hey, you know, you're ugly. No, it's not that. It's literally in that moment. The moment that we judge another person, we are in that exact moment, therefore also judging ourselves. Because if we pull this into a psychological framework, you, anyone, all of us, I can't say or make a judgment about another person or say something about another person or identify something in another person unless it exists in me first. You know what I mean? It's like I can't see something in you that isn't in me or something that I'm not consciously aware of within myself. You know what I mean? So how I'm judging a situation, how I'm judging other people, or in meaning that in the sense of like our experiences, how we judge our overall experience in life when something that simply is happening, how we choose to judge what's happening. All of that is how we reflect what's inside of us to the external world. So it's not really so much the external world, you know, coming in line where we're like, okay, I want to manifest my confusion and I want to manifest, you know, my mommy issues or, you know, whatever, or the fact that I was bullied when I was a kid. And then everything in the external world is folding in to manifest like that. It's just the fact that 5 different people can judge one experience 5 different ways. But when it comes to the individual, how we're mirroring our inner reality to the external world is based on what judgments we're making about it. So I hope that that makes sense and I didn't get too much off on a tangent. But in so many words, that's what it is that I'm seeing. So the whole point is here is that leaving an external situation and the conflict existing within, and the most quickest way that I could sum this up is whatever you left behind that you said was the problem, is the problem, the source of, you know, whatever it is, whatever you projected onto that person, situation, or circumstance. And this is not saying in any way, shape, form, or fashion that this is a good situation, good person, good circumstance. I'm not saying that. It's more or less personal work that needs to be done to go back and revisit the judgment that you made about that situation. You know what I mean? And see what it is that you can garner from that. You know what I mean? Because if you left a job, let's just say, and it was, you know, confusing and tumultuous there and causing all of this turmoil, but you're still presently in turmoil right now, then that means the thing that you skipped is the fact that there's still some dissension existing within your being, right? So the solution to all of this in so many words is stepping back into your power, stepping back into your desires, your goals, and your dreams in so many words, and relinquishing any judgments. It's more or less looking at it from a perspective of what is serving you and what isn't. And the things that aren't serving you are the things that you would want to pull away from. And the things that are serving you, you want to do more. So it's more or less looking at your life from, and that's where I'm seeing the challenge with the 10 of Cups. It's more or less focusing less on what's wrong and starting to help this star energy that's coming in to move you forward by focusing on what's right. So as opposed to looking at what's incomplete, and I feel like we've had this conversation before, because I don't know if it was last month or the month before where we were talking about lack mentality, like focusing on what it is that I don't have as opposed to focusing on what it is that you do have in so many words. But going forward, like what I heard of the whole thing of this not being able to survive, or you're not going to be able to survive thinking this way, is because this is a fast track way to literally undermine yourself. Like this is full on self-sabotage in so many words. It's taking the short answer, it's taking a superficial understanding of something, digging deeper and trying to move forward, but you keep finding yourself repeating the same thing over and over again. Now, if I can be super duper quick, before I throw the dice of resonance and give you guys an example from my life, it's like the realization that I had recently in my own life of how, you know, what you skip will trip you up later is like paperwork, right? Because a friend of mine was writing a script, and I'm looking at the whole little script or whatever. I was like, oh, that's so dope. But it's like he created this whole little format for the script, and he's like, you know what? Let me stop now and create a template for this script. So when I start writing another one, I could just, you know, follow the same template that I just created. And I was like, what? So I was like, okay. So literally, I went and got coffee with another friend. We linked up later. All of us are having dinner. And he's literally showing me the template on his phone. Because, you know how cool Apple products are. So he was showing me like the whole little template. So it's like, oh yeah, now, you know, with any little ideas, we can just plug them in, da-da-da-da. And I was flabbergasted. And I was like, so how many hours did that take? And it's like, oh, you know, it took maybe about 3.5 hours or so. And I was like, man, so you said 3.5 hours creating a template? And I thought that was so asinine for 2 seconds until I thought about all of the paperwork that I have that I desperately need templates for, or different things that I just need to format, or even books that I have that are completely finished that just literally need formatting. And the reason why I never take the time to do that, because I feel like it's tedious and it's a waste of time. It's like, why would I want to spend 3 hours making a template? That's a waste of my time. But the thing is, and those of y'all who watch my extendeds, y'all know this is the truth. What I skip trips me up later all the time, because when something comes up in a reading and I know that I'm in possession of something that could actually benefit a person, that's like a step-by-step process how to fix or heal something that I'm actually in possession of, but the reason why it's not out there is because it isn't formatted. It's like, that's tripping me up later. And now I feel bad because I'm like, holy crap, I could literally give this sheet of paper to someone that could help them to improve their life. And it's like, I didn't even make the template. So that was my own personal conviction. So I was seeing how in a lot of ways I get frustrated with a lot of things. And it's just because of logistics. I often skip logistics just because I don't like logistics. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, all of you guys know I never had to do logistics because I used to have an assistant. But since I don't have an assistant anymore, Princess has to do logistics. And I feel like Spirit kind of had it set up that way to force me into a corner where it's like, nope, you can't hire someone to do it. You got to do it yourself. So I say all of that to say, Taurus, that's exactly what I'm talking about in essence. It's like sometimes we have to make a sacrifice to dig a little deeper to get to the root of a problem and fix it. Like in the sense with my templates, or you have to actually get to the root of what is it that's really causing me unrest. Because it feels almost to me when this person or people or whatever are in a situation where there's a level of anxiety, unrest, or discomfort, the thought is just like run, get rid of it, cut off the dead limb, and move forward. But the thing is that there's very valuable information that's left there. And if you're leaving the situation and still in as much conflict as you were when you were in it, it's like the issue isn't the circumstance, person, or the situation. The issue is something in you that's trying to rise to the surface that needs your attention, in so many words. But all in all, this is good because, like I said, you guys are being supported by Spirit to confront this. The main important thing this month is to fixate more on your dreams, your goals, and aspirations. What does your 10 of Cups look like? And in every single facet of your life, what does your 10 of Cups look like? You know what I mean? And once you guys get clarified on that, and there's no more of like skipping steps, right? We get sober and real about what it is that we're really dealing with. So like if it's your finances, it's like you need to go look at your credit report. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at your debt to income ratio. You need to look at your bank account balance. How much where are you spending your money? How are you overspending? Like, are you saving? Or, you know, if it's like physical body and we're talking about like gym and stuff like that, it's like if you got a little pooch, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you going to do to start to fix that? But it's meaning in all of the facets of your life, it's like, what is your overall fulfillment? Not somebody else's, not trying to fit into someone else's fulfillment or someone else's life. This is all about you. But like I said, with the star card, the beautiful thing about this is there's an acceleration with this, because me seeing the star and the 8 of wands like side by side like this, and like the bridge card, as I call it, being the 10 of cups, is more or less the pathway to your, and I said this to y'all too. I was talking about last month or the month before, I was talking about how Spirit is trying to meet you guys halfway to make the journey shorter. But there's a need to have a very realistic, sobering moment of seeing the things that you're skipping that are continuously tripping you up. Because I feel what you guys are about to walk into going forward, this is going to be so legit and so awesome and so beneficial for you that you would not want to bring this energy into that cycle, because you would not want to undermine something that the divine has specifically co-created with you. I'm just saying, Taurus. Okay, I'm going to be quiet. I've been talking for too many minutes. So anywho, I'm going to throw the dice of resonance. You can ask a yes or no question if you like. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's like I feel going forward, everything is good for y'all. It's just like a little bit of housekeeping that's left. And the whole thing, and then I just heard things left unsaid. It's things left unsaid where it's, oh man, this is really getting deep. It's like, for some of y'all too, it's like repeating cycles of stuff. Because for some of you, it's like trying to get blood from a turnip. It's like trying to get your 10, you're trying to get your 10 of cups from a 10 of swords situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's how all the swords got in your back, is because it's like continuously doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You know what I mean? So now it's time to stop skipping steps, or to go backwards and trying to mend things past tense. And this is specifically kind of showing up to me as like, say if it's like a relationship. Like, say if a relationship didn't work out and there's a person who keeps trying to fix themselves. Like, oh, you know, he broke up with me because I wasn't skinny enough. So you lose weight and then you come back. And then now it's something else. It's like, oh, well, you know, I don't like the way you dress. So now it's like, I'm going to go hire a stylist and change the way that I dress, you know, and then you're going to come back to the person like, I'm skinny and I dress different. And they're like, still not good enough. I don't like your teeth. So then you're going to go get your teeth fixed. It's like, that's another energy that I'm picking up on here, aside from everything else that I said. It's like, the thing that's holding that group of people back is the fact that they're thinking it's something that needs to change about them in order to gain acceptance from this situation. Even if it's not romantic, if this is like, I don't know, a job, if you keep applying for the same job and they're not hiring you. The thing is this is a sign that it's like, that's not for you and there's something better for you moving forward, but you won't be able to see that. As long as you keep trying to, and that's where the contorting comes in, you keep changing yourself and morphing yourself to fit into something that's well beneath what it is that's really for you. And I feel like why this divine energy is coming in is because, you know, Tauruses, we get stuck in our ways and things, you know what I'm saying? We get stuck in our ways, you know? So you keep trying to like ram this wall, and Spirit's coming to like, dog, just leave that wall alone. Let's just go this way on some stuff in so many ways. I feel like I really had to say that, because I really do feel like this is really being heavily divinely guided. But the thing is now it's like, and I hate to say this because, you know, we're bulls, but it's almost like, you know, you think about the matador, it's like deadening the bull. You know what I'm saying? It's like last hoorah, you know, sword goes through the bull's neck, but us not being the bull, us being the matador, which is a mind, F-U-C-K within itself. You know what I'm saying? But this is almost like the final showdown. Because I literally feel Man, the longer I stay in this energy, the deeper this is going to get. And this is not fair because we're already at 40 minutes, Taurus. But I literally feel like how I say tumor, that's literally what this is. It's like this is a seed of discord that's been planted in your being, and every form of sadness, depression, anxiety, discord, conflict, chaos, calamity, every low vibrational energy is being brought forth by the seed of discord that's hidden somewhere within your being. So this is more or less like an energetic surgery, so to speak, or an energetic removal. Because still going back to the mirroring thing, it's like this seed of discord that's within your energy field is what has drawn a lot of these situations in. But the misconception that Taurus has had up to this point is thinking that the problem exists outside of them. The issue is not everyone else. And please listen to me when I say that. You really have to use your discernment to hear the essence of what I'm saying. It has never been about anyone else. It has always been about you. The reason why people like this came into your life, situations, circumstances, what have you, have come into your life was because it was Spirit's way of saying, look within, because there is a seed of discord in the form of false core beliefs about oneself, one's life, whatever, a poor self-concept, what have you, that is the root of all of the chaos outside, right? Because like I talked about judgment, it's judging from that seed. So it's not seeing things as they are, but seeing them through the veil of this discord seed. So the whole purpose of the month of November for you guys is to remove this. But the way that it's being removed is by you guys fixating on positive, wish-fulfilled, like dream-fulfilling energies and going in the direction of those things, as opposed to focusing on, like what we talked about months ago, that lack mentality, what it is that you don't have. So it's like dream hard, dream big, because whatever it is that you guys, like whatever your 10 of Cups is for you, that's very much possible, if that's making sense. Whew, Lord have mercy. I hope that all made sense. You can ask a yes or no question if you like. I cannot believe this reading is that long. My God. It was so hard to get that out. It was worth it. Oh, that's interesting. So we have Taurus. We have yes in a few months. We have Bay lover partner. We have Pisces. And we have rising. So Taurus, yes in a few months, Bay lover partner, Pisces, and rising. And let's throw the dice that have no name. I cannot believe y'all reading was this long. We have Aries. Oh, come on. That is so funny. We have North Node and the number 1. Wow. Scorpio had the number 1 too. That is so fascinating. So yeah, y'all are literally being put in the driver's seat. And the funny thing about an Aries North Node, which I'm an Aries North Node, by the way, being the whole life song of the Aries North Node is literally being your own trailblazer. It's not waiting for permission. It's like, and I always often jokingly say, because you know how Tauruses, we have our little China shop moments from here to there, you know? But I always say, like, with my North Node being an Aries, like, my anger is my deliverance, in the sense that the things that vex my soul are the very problems that I'm here to help solve. You know what I mean? So, of course, I look at these as oracles. So even if your North Node isn't in Aries, this is a war cry in so many words from Spirit of telling you to stand in your truth, to be led by your convictions, to not allow other people's opinions or their expectations or thinking you need permission to be who you are, right? Because the people that I'm talking to, like I said, regardless if your North Node is in Aries, that doesn't matter. The people who are listening to this, you know what I'm saying, that resonate with this reading, all of this is coming out to tell you that it's your time to stand in your power and to act on it, and you don't need anybody's permission to do it. It's like you are supposed to be setting a standard by living your truth for many people who are going to follow you. You know what I mean? And not saying that in a sense of like disciples, but I mean, you giving people permission by you being boldly and authentically yourself and acting on that. Seeing a person like that as an example that gives other people permission to be who they are. That's why I say it's so important for us to embrace the authenticity of who we are and not to try to conform to appease society or other people or whatever. Because us as individual humans, our makeup, oh gosh, just of one human being is so amazingly unique and different. But there's so many other people in this world that are like us, right? That we may not know. But it's us being ourselves gives other people permission to be themselves. And the more that we can be ourselves, the more that we can come together as a collective and actually make something happen in this world. Dagnabbit, son of a gun. Got a little philanthropic there. So for North Node, it says, you're now learning something new about your destiny, where you're going, what you're developing that you will carry forward, your legacy. You know what I'm saying? And then for the number 1, it says beginnings, the first cause, which is talking about like Big Bang and like the fact that the first cause was the Big Bang and then everything after that is cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, and it's in so many words implying, because with your major arcana for the month being the magician, it's like you being the first cause, you utilizing the tools and resources around you to create the reality that you feel is in alignment with you. This is getting too long. I'm going to stop talking. Strength and self-reliance. Opening and awakening the self, personal identity, individuality, and unity, 2 sides of one coin. And I'm saying, but anyway, Taurus, that was a lot, but it was worth it. That has been your reading. If you guys want to follow me over to Vimeo, the link should be in the description box below or in the comments or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't, I still love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. I really need to let this go because this really is not insomnia, anxiety, sleepless nights. And Group 1 people are the ones that I talked about that may keep repeating cycles over and over again or keep going back to past, friendships, relationships, jobs, whatever. Group 2 people, I've said a couple of things for you guys, but I feel the biggest issue for you all is more or less like ruminating thoughts and being Group 3 people. I feel like, because with everyone, with all 3 groups, it literally feels to me as a way of avoidance. You know what I mean? It's like these are 3 different manifestations of the things that you guys are skipping. Like you're using these 3 things, and for my Group 3 people, it's diversion. It's putting all your time, effort, and energy into work or self-improvement, and it's almost using everything.